Hi everyone, this is Callie. Thanks so much for being here today. I am sharing a fun and easy light up card. I'm using a bug deal and little firefly sets from Fawn, and we're gonna have a fun time creating this little nighttime scene with a special light up feature. So let's get started here by coloring our images. Many of these images are from the A Bug Deal set, and then the little fireflies are its own little mini set. So a great price point for these cute little critters. And so we're gonna stamp some of those. I repeated the stamping on the little fireflies so that we have 3 images to color for the light up feature. And I'm just gonna quickly color here with some Copic markers. Very simple coloring, and if you're interested in the colors, be sure to check out the coordinating blog post for this video where I will list all of the Copic color combinations for you. I'm using 2 to 3 markers depending on the size of the image, applying the dark color first, blending with a medium if necessary, and then a light. I wanted my insects to be a little bit more colorful, so I'm pulling in all the colors of the rainbow here. And I didn't actually like how the fireflies had bright pink bodies, so I re-stamped those, and you'll see here in a little bit that I color them with a softer teal color so that they're not so vibrant. Just some very quick coloring to get through the process so we can go ahead and get started on our other components of our card. I die cut all of the pieces, and I'm just going to set them aside now. Okay, so to create our night scene, I'm going to go ahead and start with some twisted citron. It's going to pull in some of that grassy border that we're going to put on our card, as well as draw in some light from a night scene. So I am starting with the twisted citron, and I'm going to start in the center of the panel from the bottom. And I'm not starting off the page only because I know that this bottom more saturated portion is going to be covered by a grassy border. Next, I'm going to add a lighter color in salvaged patina to kind of tie in the green and the blues that I'm going to make darker. So this is just a good in-between color between the green and the darker blues. So we're just going to work back and forth. If we need to go back into the green with the twisted citron, we will do that. And then I'm going to add Mermaid Lagoon all the way around, making sure it blends into the salvaged patina well. And you'll see when I add the darker color, it's a huge contrast. I had just re-inked my ink pads and it was super saturated. Here I'm just going back in with the salvaged patina to blend between the mermaid as well as the twisted citron. And here we have the chipped sapphire, which is the darkest shade. And as you can see, my ink is super saturated here. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit when I went and applied it to my card because I was like, whoa, that's really dark. And I almost gave up and started over, but I decided to keep blending. So the Mermaid Lagoon really tamed it down a lot with the oxides. They blend together so well. And in the end, I was okay with how it turned out. All right, so I'm just going to quickly spritz my panel here with some water just to give it a little bit of a night sky, stars in the background look. And I really wanted to intensify those stars, so I'm using my splat box here to splatter on some white paint to intensify more of those stars. And if you're curious, the paint that I use is nothing more than white acrylic craft paint that I've watered down a little bit with water to the consistency that I like for splattering. So I have my panel there and it's drying on the left. We're going to create our grassy borders for the bottom of our card. I'm using 2 different grassy hillside borders dies here, and I'm cutting 2 different panels of grass that are in different heights so that I can layer and add dimension to my card. I'm going to add some color to these grassy hillside borders. I'm using Distress Oxides in Mowed Lawn and Lucky Clover ink. When I'm happy with the colors and how they look when layered, I'm going to go ahead and set up my scene so that I can figure out the placement of my light up fireflies. That branch that I colored is going to be at the center of my card, so I know that I want these fireflies to be around that branch. Okay, so looking at the little firefly stamp set, there are some circle stamps and dies. And that's so you can stamp and emboss with some glow-in-the-dark powder if you'd like to go that route. I'm using the little dies to die cut where I want the lights to shine through. So I've die cut those 3 by marking them with little X's with a pencil and die cutting those. And now I want to cover up those holes to kind of create a luminescent window. I have a piece of vellum here and I want it to glow a light warm yellow color, so I'm using Y15 to color on that vellum on the back side before I cut them up to adhere over these holes and create little windows. I use tape runner to add some adhesive around those holes and then cut the little pieces of vellum to create my luminescent windows. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to flip that over so you can see what that looks like from the front side. It just adds a little bit of a warm glow to those circles. And then now we can use these easy lights. These are from Pear Blossom Press, and they are so easy to use because they're pre-wired. You don't have to worry about any circuits or messing up your circuits when you're using other types of light up products. There are 3 lights to each unit, and as you can see, there's a battery pack there. There's a positive indicator and a battery that comes with, and then there's a little button that you can press to turn on your lights. It's so simple and easy to use. So now I'm just going to position where I want my press here button to be. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that base portion down with some desk tape and then finagle with my wires to where they are right over my little windows and adhere those down as well. You can use any adhesive that you'd like. I always have desk tape nearby, so that's always easy for me to use, especially on the back of cards like this where nothing is going to be visible from the front. So I'm using a bunch of desk tape to hold down everything and make sure that everything is secured in place. And when I'm happy with how that looks, I'm going to stamp a little push here indicator using the push here stamp set. I'm marking it with a pencil just to make sure I know exactly where to stamp that. There are lots of options on this little push here stamp. I'm using a simple one, and I'm going to use my Misty because I don't trust myself with stamping well the first time using an acrylic block. After stamping, I can set that aside and make sure that that's good and dry before I erase that tiny little X mark that I did with my pencil. On the back side of my card panel, I'm using a double layer of foam adhesive to match the height of our light up battery pack. And then we can go ahead and adhere that to a card base and then start creating our scene. I'm starting first with the Grassy Borders and making sure that that push me indicator is right where it needs to be to get our card to light up. Now I'm going to start building my scene with all of the images that we colored at the beginning of this video. I'm attaching everything with some liquid adhesive and attaching those lightning bugs right over those little circle windows that we created. And to finish, we're going to go ahead and emboss a sentiment. I'm going to emboss some sentiments from the little Firefly set. It says, "I hope your day glows with happiness." I make sure that everything is clean before I heat set the panel, and then I'm just going to buff away the clay that's on my black cardstock, and I cut these down into strips before adhering them over my card. We have lots of foam tape underneath this panel, so I didn't adhere anything with additional foam tape because I didn't want it to be too bulky. But here we have a completed light up card for you, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you've never made a light up card before because you've been intimidated or don't know what to use, I hope seeing the easy light set from Pear Blossom Press gives you hope that it's easy and totally doable. If you like this project, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Everything I used for today's project will be linked below for your convenience. I'm linking 2 more videos here for you to enjoy if you'd like to see more. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day. Bye everyone!